This is an evaluation of my YouTube documentary about the history of VFX. Start off, my opinion on the documentary is that, well, the script writing and pre-production was pretty good. It was par. Not overly good, not overly bad. But that is mostly due to well, many things out of my control. I'll get back to that later. One of the downsides of my documentary is that there aren't that many other camera angles of the readers. There's only head-on from the green screen. But I feel like my use of footage and other, documentaries actually helped shift the focus away from that. One of the many quirks of the thing is that it's on YouTube you can pretty much upload whatever you want within reason. So that means that despite quality or content, it can be seen by a wide audience, so long as they're looking for it or it's recommended to them. Unless YouTube doesn't agree with you for some reason, but that's out of all of our control. Quite a few issues cropped up during filming. Mostly, regarding storage devices like SD cards and all that. If I remember correctly, it was because I needed 2 or 3 SD cards for recording. One for audio, one for one camera, one for a different camera used for separate shots. Thing is, during the recording, I was moving house, and long story short, I lost track of quite a few things. But that was out of my control since, well, personal reasons. Another point is that there are quite a few bits of faulty tech. Like, one of the tripods had a broken leg, so it kept being uneven, so we had to get around 1 or 2 other tripods due to one of them being even worse condition. Another one was the shotgun microphone that we had at the time. It kept cutting out and giving null information to the SD card. After so many retakes, I lost a week of progress, and now I had around a week 1 day-ish to finish the thing, of which caused quite a bit of stress. One of the things that I had to do was learn keying, while trying to put it into my documentary. That was not fun, not at all. One of the other things was de-essing and de-humming quite a few bits and pieces, as well as various audio, malfunctions. I ended up sorting them before it was released, but the keying is not brilliant, I'll admit, because at several points I believe some people's arms and even ears ended up being keyed off by accident. One of the things I didn't really expect was the burying or severe lack of certain media, such as behind the scenes for classic kaiju movies like Godzilla or King Kong, as well as behind the scenes of the Wizard of Oz's matte paintings, since, to my knowledge, there's no behind the scenes footage of them. And I was unable to find a documentary on how the Lego movie was being made. That was probably due to time constraints though, because I'm certain I saw it when I was younger, although it could be on special features of DVDs and whatnot. Another part that I found difficulty of was finding the correct images from behind the scenes for certain movies, like behind the scenes from Lord of the Rings, because I kept finding break room pictures from them and pictures of the actors just hanging out. One of the things that I considered greatly was the external media that I would use, media I had not sourced myself or gotten from copyright free places. Like all the music that I used was from the Nintendo Wii, all composed by Kazumi Totaka. While the music I used is owned by Nintendo, as many of you might know, is a very cease and desist happy company. They no longer gain profit from the songs used, mostly because they no longer support the Nintendo Wii or the NWii or NWiiU engine. So they no longer gain profit and therefore cannot sue me for income from it, as well as the fact that I do not monetize the videos for varying reasons. Regardless, all the media that I used besides that has been used on the fair use law. Fair use law basically says that so long as I don't try to make a market substitute for said video or for said image or music while being transformative on the issue, I can basically do whatever I want, so far as I don't replace the video with a mark or make money off of directly from the thing. This is directly sourced from the Ethan Klein versus Matt Haas lawsuit on free use. In short, my documentary, despite all the pre-production planning like script writing, very, very vague storyboarding, short mock-ups and lists for footage, it has become very disappointing. But I think that it's mostly due to time constraints and things out of my control, like I've said. If I was given more time on a stable, time of my life, I believe I would be able to finish it with flying colours. But, I ended up getting what I got. Thank you for listening to my documentary evaluation on the history of VFX.
Three, two, one, right. Start. I saw the facts.
Since the dawn of a moving picture, people have been trying to push the limits of its content, but Horse in Motion could be considered an evolution of visual effects since it was the first movie. But that is all that would need to be said. But what about the foundations of what makes blockbusters? Well, blockbusters.
Well, not the first. Metropolis popularised the use of miniatures with common cityscapes of the dystopian metropolis to simulate a cinematic extreme wide shot. This film helped miniatures become popular enough to be used today in films like the original Star Wars trilogy, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull for the Doomtown scene, and even in the early kaiju movies.
Released for
Nice
conquest
references.
of the poem, arguably the first monster movie had another addition to the history of VFX. The Giant of Snows. This is the first non-human actor movie monster and required many people to operate it. This was the first in a long line of movie monsters, including Jurassic Park's dinosaurs, the xenomorphs from the Alien series, and many more. This is Gertie. Who is Gertie? She was one of the more popular characters on newspapers' funny pages. Basically the 1910s version of Garfield. So what is so important about the forgotten dinosaur-century-old film? It's the earliest surviving animated film, before Walt Disney even went to high school. This style of animation would prove popular for the next century, would start the biggest entertainment company in the world. With the release of The Wizard of Oz, another technique was popularized: matte paintings. Whilst Méliès and the other filmmakers used this technique in their more surreal films, The Wizard of Oz was one of the films of which pushed the limits of this. Like a full hour and a half of matte paintings used every other scene. It was eventually shown with the scenes in Oz in colour when TV was first popularised, making it seem more striking, technically making it the first film to use colour for emphasis and symbolism, with these techniques involving intercolour grading and projected backgrounds. A less impressive, yet still noteworthy VFX improvement was compositing
Nice
and
referencing
clean
about
painting,
the
where
fact
still
that
all identical shots taken,
showing the
where
stars.
either two halves of a scene are stitched together, as used in the first Parent Trap, or the non-background items can be put into the same shot from a clean plane. This is the rock upon that we built our church. Think of the most used and relied on VFX used in all modern works. Grading, cutting, text? No. Two-dimensional computer-generated images. 2D CGI. In 1973, this was revolutionary. Digitally manipulated film. Yes, it looks like an automated filter you could apply with your first-gen iPod. But bear in mind that 10 seconds of film edited in this way took 8 hours to process and print onto film. A 3D CGI was then 4 years later by the same team. This will lead to make many other improvements that would make CGI a massive part of life, leading into our last stop.
Lucasfilm was a pioneer in VFX, with remasters of the original Star Wars releasing every couple of years, and the somewhat controversial prequels and sequels. But a division of their CGI department decided to quit. They worked with various tech geniuses to build rendering computer, and they made their first 1-minute tech demo, short, with CGI characters interacting with CGI objects in a CGI environment with moving lights and physics. The short Christian. Luxor Jr., this studio went on to work with the fully first 3D CGI movie, Toy Story. This technique would later be become the preferred animation technique even today, with hit films like Shrek, Monsters Inc. and the Lego Movie being made with this technique, and the hobbyist freeware like Source, Filmmaker and Blender.
We have covered all the major advancements. There is not much left to talk about aside from a couple of CGI versions of the previous effects and a little bit of basic camera trickery that are just improvements on the earlier techniques. This was the history of cinematic VFX. Thank you for watching.
Nice acting credits.
Yeah. What do you think of it?
Overall, it's a really well made documentary style video, all things considered.
Yeah.
Good recording.
Yeah. Right. Nice.